let's talk about that PlayStation Plus Premium. I'm sure this will be cordial, civil, nothing but the utmost respect and a complete lacking, an astonishing lacking of console war fanboyism, correct? Right? Got it? Great! Let's talk about this service. Now, I get it. I do a lot of Xbox coverage here. I'm very pro Game Pass. Everyone knows that. That's no fib whatsoever. So I imagine a lot of PlayStation fans are going to be coming through the door here, ready with their fists up. Lower your guard, okay? Let's have an honest conversation about this service. This is the biggest competitor at this point in time to Xbox Game Pass. Not my words, and just because for some people it doesn't deliver what Game Pass is delivering doesn't mean it's suddenly not a competitor. With that in mind though, I think it's unfair that PlayStation fans are getting beat over the head by Game Pass because Game Pass has had about 5 years now to develop into what it is today. And none of these services are great at the starting level. They have to grow and develop, and it's about the subsequent moves they make to add value to the service at the same price tag that really is what defines it truly. So how is PlayStation looking in a starting area? We know the tiers of PlayStation Plus, Deluxe, and Premium. We know the price tags a little bit higher than Game Pass Ultimate, and that does change the conversation a little bit. But now we have information on the games being put into the service, some of the backwards compatible offerings, some of the value within these tiers, and I'm excited to go through all of it in today's video and offer some thoughts and feelings on the matter. So if you're new here and you're into gaming coverage, well, you're in the right place. It's all we do. Consider subscribing. Now, let's read the PlayStation blog, where they start off by saying, it's almost here. Our new PlayStation Plus service is launching soon, and we are pleased to share with you an early look at some of the games, asterisk, that will be included during the launch time frame. As we announced in March, there will be 3 benefit plans to choose from, all with exciting games to play. So for starters, they have a bunch of PlayStation Studios-based games across PS4 and PS5, such as Alienation, Bloodborne, Concrete Genie, Days Gone. You can even go down and see Demon's Souls from Bluepoint, the PS5 version. That's very exciting. Gravity Rush 2 is in there, Gravity Rush Remastered. Those are hard games to get nowadays on today's market. They're very expensive. Infamous First Light and Second Son. You can also get things like Miles Morales, which is a relatively newer game. Returnal is in the mix, another newer PlayStation 5 game. For Shadow of the Colossus, Tearaway Unfolded, a very underrated Vita game that was brought to PS4 and didn't get a lot of attention afterwards either. Uncharted, the Nathan Drake collection, as well as Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy. So some pretty good games there. Aside from that are their third-party partners, where they get things like Ashen, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, on top of a number of Ubisoft titles. We'll talk about why that's the case later on. Some other standouts are Guardians of the Galaxy, which is also available on Game Pass, Mortal Kombat 11, The Outer Wilds, Red Dead Redemption 2, that's another great one, Soul Calibur 6, that's a pretty good one there, as well as the original Resident Evil. So this is what would come with PlayStation Plus Extra, which offers everything from PS Plus Essential, plus the catalog of PS4 and PS5 games for $15 a month. Mind you, and we need to say this in all fairness, this isn't the final list, but for a starting area, I do think that the PlayStation Studios titles are exciting on a very particular front. And this is where Game Pass is valuable as well. You could take a look at this and say, well, if I've been in the Xbox ecosystem for a while, and I'm looking at PlayStation, I actually kind of dig this lineup, because for a lot of Xbox fans, this year's looking mighty empty. You might be waiting there with your arms folded, legs crossed, going, okay, I'll give you to the showcase, Xbox. Let's say that showcase doesn't deliver what they're looking for this fall, which obviously nothing can really substitute Starfield or Redfall. But you take a look at when this news is dropping, and a lot of people could say, well, God of War's in there, Horizon's in there, and you got some new PS5 exclusives like Returnal, like Demon's Souls remake, and you go, okay, well, you know what? Like, I can catch up on all these for $15 a month. That's what's really great about this at face value. Right away, for those who are coming from Xbox to PlayStation, there is an inherent value there. Now, if you're like me, you love video games in general, you don't pick one side or the other, and obviously some people just can't afford both consoles, but a lot of people swear their allegiance to one console. But if you're like me and many others who do have the opportunity to play all these games, this is where the underwhelming feelings come in a little bit, because for me personally, I feel like a lot of this has kind of like been there, done that. Even in the PlayStation Plus collection, a lot of these titles were already there, like God of War, like Horizon, and many others. Bloodborne especially has been around for a while. So some of these are familiar free games in the PlayStation ecosystem for quite a while. And some of the new ones there, also as someone who adopted the PS5 at launch, I went through because I enjoy my PS5. So for many of us who already have the console, we flew through those. But for those adopting the system, we can't act like everyone is currently doing that. But for those who are adopting it and have missed out on games, there is some value there. Okay, let's keep moving through here because this is where I think things get very interesting in the conversation. Classic Games Catalog. This is for the PlayStation Plus Premium plan. Keep in mind that PS Plus Premium is $18 a month or $120 a year is what they're charging for it. And as of this moment in time, this is what they're saying. PS Plus Premium and Deluxe members will have a selection of popular classic games to play, with some titles that will show improved frame rates and higher quality resolution compared to their original launch versions. For select original PlayStation and PSP classic games, members will also enjoy a new user interface with menus that allow you to save your game at any time or even rewind the game if you want to do over. Okay, first things first, patting myself on the back. I told you all that while this is going to be a Game Pass competitor, its model absolutely takes more inspiration from Nintendo Switch Online than anything at all. But I also want to give PlayStation credit. I like that they're going to improve the frame rate, make these games, these older games, better. If you're going to put them in your service, at least improve them, right? Where when you look at Nintendo, you can't buy them separately and they're not really improving them. They're just locking them in a service. That's frustrating. At least here you can justify the buy-in provided there is an improvement there. I do wonder a bit about trophies. As of this moment in time, I would love to get some trophies for like Crisis Core. That's like the dream right now. But I also like that they're taking the suspend point feature from Switch Online. That's one of the best parts about Switch Online is some of these old games were not fine-tuned. They were not tested as heavily as games are today. And so it was really nice to see it. They're like, yeah, you can save these games at any point in time. So really, really cool to see. Let's keep reading before we get into the actual game library, where they write, players who have previously purchased the digital version of select games from the original PlayStation and PSP generation will not have to make a separate purchase or sign up to PS Plus to play these titles on PS4 or PS5. When these titles are released on PS4 or PS5, players can head to PlayStation Store and download a version for the consoles at no extra cost if they already own the digital version of the title. Some of these titles will also be available for individual purchase. Additionally, some remastered classics from previous console generations will be added to PS Plus Premium Deluxe plan. Below is an early look at a selection of games that will be available, where they show that there's going to be Ape Escape, Hot Shots Golf, IQ Intelligent Cube, Jumping Flash, Siphon Filter, and Super Stardust Portable within the PlayStation Studios lineup. And then for third party, you have Mr. Driller, Tekken 2, Worms Armageddon, and Worms World Party. Those are the ones you've really been looking for, I know. And then on top of that are some PS4 games, Ape Escape 2, Ark the Lad, Twilight of the Spirits. We also knew that Dark Cloud 1 and 2 have been on the PS4 store for a while with Jak 2, Jak 3, Jak X Combat Racing, Hot Shots Tennis, Jak and Daxter, The Precursor Legacy, Rogue Galaxy, Siren, Wild Arms 3, and then from the third parties, there is BioShock, Borderlands, Bulletstorm, Kingdoms of Amalur, as well as the Harry Potter Lego collection. I do like that they're letting you, if you already own these games, download them separately, whether it be a classic or a current game, that they're not forcing you to go into the service to access them. That's the least we can expect. I also am not crazy though about the notion that some games will be available for purchase. I don't know why all couldn't be. I know you need to make your subscription service enticing, but that's why you create a cumulative value of all these games that you could buy, but instead do have them all in one place in the subscription service. All of that convenience factor, all of that value, right? But when you lock stuff off and make it not available for purchase, you create artificial value. Not a fan of this move by PlayStation at all. Make them all available for sale. I guarantee your subscription service will only go up because of that. But otherwise, I did find this particular lineup of original PlayStation remasters kind of underwhelming. I know some people will enjoy them, especially Ape Escape 1 and 2. Seeing them there is great. Seeing Siphon Filter there in a remaster category is really cool as well. I do like that type of stuff, but for me, you know, I feel like this is your chance to really come out swinging, and I know they couldn't plan this far ahead because this was announced in March, and obviously I'm planning for much longer than that. But when you look at the situation now, the optics now of Xbox really weak currently with their upcoming fall plan. They're vulnerable. And the thought process of like PlayStation coming out and saying, Crisis Cores here. I know I sound like a Crisis Core fanboy here, but there's so many PlayStation titles. Sly Cooper, y'all know how I feel about Sly. The idea that there was so much left on the table, and I know there's more to be announced, but let's not kid ourselves here. This is their chance to make an impression. They are coming out with their absolute best, okay? That doesn't mean that there won't be other great game announcements later this week, perhaps, but they're coming out with what they think is the best to set the best first impression, and you're kidding yourself if you don't think that's the case. So my expectations aren't high for subsequent announcements. However, we've all been wrong in the past. It's possible that they do come out with something special, but I'm really not holding my breath. So that's where some of the library starts to underwhelm. And then we get into the PlayStation 3 category, which, as they say here, is available via streaming. This will be the PlayStation Plus premium tier that will offer PS3 games to stream and play on PS4, PS5, and PC. These are original, non-remastered versions of PS3 games and are available to PS Plus premium members where cloud streaming is available. Here is an early look at the selection of original PS3 games available. Here we actually have, funny enough, the original Demon's Souls. We see a lot of Hot Shots Golf in here. Infamous 1 and 2, love to see that. Motorstorm is here. Puppeteer is here. Some of the Ratchet & Clank PS3 games are here. Resistance 3 is here, but none of the other Resistance games are here. Not sure why. Tokyo Jungle is a really underrated one. Happy to see that there. And then for the third-party partners, Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2, but not the first one. Devil May Cry HD Collection sounds great, but with streaming services, that sounds horrible. Enslaved Odyssey to the West is a underrated gem. Lost Planet 2, but not the first one. Fear, Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2, but not the first one. And then they got Red Dead Redemption Undead Nightmare. This is where I feel like PlayStation Plus kind of flounders a bit. The fact that there are sequels, but the original games aren't here in a streaming service. It's literally just the PlayStation Now service rolled into PS Plus, as we already knew, but substantially a smaller amount of games. And not only that, but some nonsensical picks, like why not the first Lords of Shadow? Why not the first Lost Planet? Why not the first Ninja Gaiden Sigma? Why not maybe the first or second Resistance? I don't know. I think Resistance 3 is phenomenal, by the way. But for those who want to get into the PlayStation ecosystem and catch up, like I was talking about at the beginning of the video, it feels like there's not a cohesive vision here on what this service is trying to accomplish. They just want to offer you lots of games and kind of overwhelm you with options, which does work in the service's favor. Last but certainly not least, we got to talk about time-limited trials. The time-limited trial game benefit will enable you to try select games before you buy. After downloading a trial of the full game, you can play for 2 hours for most games. The playtime counter only counts while you are in the game. It's a great way to try games before you decide to buy, and any trophies and game save data from the trial period will carry forward if you purchase the game. And then here are some of the titles: Uncharted Legacy of Thieves Collection, as well as Horizon Forbidden West. And then for third party, I thought it was pretty interesting to see Cyberpunk's PS5 version there after everything that happened with taking that game off the PlayStation storefront. Farming Simulator 22, Tiny Tina's Wonderland, very new game there. And WWE 2K22, another pretty new one there. So I like how close in proximity to the release of these games that these are appearing. So that may be a strength of PlayStation Plus, the ability to try these games out. I know Xbox does have the ability to offer Game Pass Day 1. That doesn't seem to be something PlayStation wants to explore at all. So this is a pretty good option for those of you looking in the PlayStation ecosystem to try things out. I do worry long-term about how this affects how games are made. If they try to front load the first couple of hours to say like, ooh, look at this crazy stuff, and the game falls off. There are plenty of games that do that, so it's not something that can't happen. So I do worry about that. They're planning to add new games regularly to the service, so each service will get a monthly refresh, where the PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium tiers will receive an additional monthly refresh at the middle of each month with new games across PS Plus. And then, of course, the PS Plus Essential will get a monthly refresh, as we are familiar with at the beginning of every Tuesday. Now, I mentioned a lot of Ubisoft games here. This is kind of a cool little development within this service that I think Xbox fans can take a look at and consider maybe this making its way into Game Pass. So Ubisoft announced that Ubisoft Plus is coming to PlayStation. This is very similar to what happened to Xbox at the beginning of the year, but here is the twist: that they say that they are bringing Ubisoft Plus Classics to PlayStation, and it's a curated selection of popular games, including top-selling games like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, The Division, and For Honor, as well as beloved classic games like Child of Light, Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon, Watch Dogs, Werewolves Within, and more. The Ubisoft Classics catalog for PlayStation Plus will launch with 27 titles and will grow to 50 by the end of 2022. So yeah, this will launch bundled with PlayStation Plus Extra or PlayStation Plus Premium subscription tiers on May 24th. So I thought this was pretty cool of PlayStation to do. If you actually go back and look at some of the lists and you see the amount of Ubisoft games there, this was pretty important for them to have some meatier lists. If you really take a good hard look at things there. But Ubisoft gives you a lot of bang for your buck. You can say what you will about their games. I don't think they're as good as they used to be, but they will give you a lot of time in those games. And if you're getting all of them for free, that's pretty solid. And look, I'm going to sit here and look at this. If this were coming to Game Pass, I'd be pretty satisfied, right? I think about Ubisoft Plus Classics coming to Game Pass. I know a lot of people hate on Ubisoft. I have lately really hated on Ubisoft, but hey, when you really take a good hard look at their games, a lot of them are loved by tons of people. And to see a new service appear that's being thrown into, say, something like PlayStation Plus Premium, you can totally see it making its way to Game Pass. It'll be interesting to see how quickly, if at all, that happens. But ladies and gentlemen, that's everything for PS Plus. So my overall thoughts right now of the service are underwhelmed mostly. I feel like there was a lot of missed opportunities here that I could have gotten out of my seat for, right? Like, the IP for PlayStation goes so far and wide that it's a service that can really be a little bit of something for everybody. And I feel like here they just had a mishmash of games. Some very nice to see, especially the PS5 selection, I think is particularly strong. I do like that a lot for new console owners. That's really, really awesome to see. I do think this is great for those trying to catch up, but as you get deeper into the back catalog of games, that vision sort of fades out, and it's just like, here, games, enjoy. And hopefully as they announce more games, that will fill out the library more. So these thoughts could update, we'll see, but for the time being, I find myself in particular underwhelmed. If I'm Xbox, I'm kind of chilling there going, yeah, we're in a pretty crappy position right now. We can't really brag about anything, boast about anything. Maybe they'll have that opportunity after the game's showcase, but I wouldn't be losing sleep over this service still. But it is definitely pedal to the metal time. Make sure people know Game Pass is the service, if you're Xbox, that is. But anyway, competition is good. Happy to see PlayStation unveil this, and very excited to see the discourse. Kinda. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you're thinking about this down below. Be sure to follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Those links are in the description down below. And with that, take great care of yourselves. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.